Welcome back to Hold the Phone YouTube. Here are our best bets for college football, week number 7. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning back into the best sports betting show here on YouTube. Because of the beautiful people on the other side of this screen who continue to like the video, subscribe, comment your favorite play of college football week number 7 as we dive into some glorious matchups we've been gifted by from the college football gods. Look, today, it's a little bit of a different feel. Lupica, Glue Guy, Loop is on the road. I'm putting on the big boy pants and doing this show solo. This ought to go well. Not really sure how this is going to work out. However, I could not be more excited to get into college football week number 7. It's been so many highs, so many lows, so much of a roller coaster of emotion season. The most beautiful part about the college football season, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is the unknown. Which teams are going to come out when the lights are the brightest on the national stage in these top 25 matchups, no matter what the conference, and get up for these ball games? Which team is going to show up for these ball games? Which team, when it matters most, is going to get the job done? There are so many unknowns. There are so many variables. And hey, that's the beauty of college football. And we dive in to matchup number 1. We take a trip to the SEC, where Alabama and Ty Simpson, who appear to be on top of the SEC, on top of the world, on top of the college football world as of late, is now traveling to Missouri, where the Tigers have gotten the things rolling. Their quarterback, I'm not good with pronunciations, but second highest completion percentage in the country. We said it before, we said it again. This is not the Alabama team from old. This is an Alabama team who, yes, went into Athens and beat Georgia, got over Kirby Smart. Kellen DeBoer, first massive road win, the first time Georgia drops a game in 33 home appearances. Then, last week, they get challenged again once more. It almost felt like there could be a Heisman moment for Mr. Diego Pavia. Down with Vanderbilt. That game, another roller coaster. Vanderbilt had all the chances to make that a ball game. 2 turnovers in the red zone in critical moments of that ball game, I think, was the deciding factor between Vanderbilt and Alabama. That final score did not depict how close of a matchup that ended up being. And you would think, after being in the comfort of their own home, however, coming off a massive emotional win, still being able to get the job done, I'm not discrediting that. However, there were flaws that you could see from this Alabama defense, not only on the ground, but in the air. And with a quarterback as much of a flow, the transfer from Penn State stepping under center for Mizzou, I think they're going to run into some problems. I think it's going to be an absolute buzzsaw down in Missouri. Look, I'm going to keep things short and sweet. Alabama lives and dies by the passing attack, and they are a one-trick pony, I believe, with Ty Simpson. I think in this game, Missouri is going to really battle at the line of scrimmage. And with that being said, I don't want Missouri +3. I need Missouri +3. I think they win this game outright. Missouri, absolute buzzsaw right now. It's been all sunshine and rainbows the last couple weeks. A lot of people jumping into bed all of a sudden with Alabama after selling their stock, dropping the first game of the season against FSU. Alabama, recently, under DeBoer, has not played well on the road outside of, obviously, the elephant in the room taking down Georgia. I think in this matchup, another SEC matchup, another really tall task, another big obstacle. I love Mizzou in this spot. Give us Missouri +3. Let's continue on down the line. Next game on the board. Speaking of Georgia, speaking of another SEC matchup, we have the Bulldogs taking a trip to Auburn, Alabama. Look, Auburn, their last 2 games has been a barn burn, Auburn type of football game under Hugh Freeze. Look, they drop a really close one in self-inflicted wounds in Oklahoma against Mateer, where John Mateer obviously put the team on his back. Then, following week, another brutal spot. They have to then travel to College Station, where once again, Auburn's defense has showed up. Well-rounded Auburn football team this season, and it's not showing up. It's not a 3-2 football team. This is a very good college football team. Jackson Arnold being able to get the job done with his feet, I think poses a really big threat with this Georgia defense. Then going on the road, we saw Joey Aguilar in the Tennessee offense, what they were able to do to this Georgia Bulldog defense on the road. Georgia got the train back on track last week against Kentucky at home. I think that was a nice little get back spot for the Bulldogs. But here, traveling down to the Plains, I think they're going to once again run into some obstacles any given Saturday in the SEC. Once again, I am loving a home dog barking under Jackson Arnold, another quarterback who can get the job done with his feet, frisky with his feet, make plays with his feet. They've gotten the run attack, opening up the pass attack in Auburn. This is a very, very good defense, which I think is going to give a little fits, give a little trouble, a little fluke shit to Gunnar Stockton and the boys on the offensive side of the ball for Georgia. I love coming off the bye for Auburn. They've been prepping for Kirby Smart. This is a statement win in which Auburn needs to get their season on the track. Next week, they welcome at home Missouri, who, if they're coming off beating Alabama, is going to be another massive game for Auburn. This has been a gauntlet. Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, Missouri. I think this is a perfect spot at home. Big game in the SEC. Give us Auburn plus 3.5. And let's continue on down the line to our next matchup. No loops here. We appreciate each and every single one of you on the other side of this screen. I feel like this is a different sort of feel. I feel like I'm on ESPN right now, just giving a rundown. Not as loose, not as fun, but hey, this is a 40-yard dash. I'm so stoked. This is an incredible college football Saturday. This slate, there's games that we have left off that you have to stay tuned for on the Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whether that's Gavin McHugh on social media or Dr. Locks. Let's continue on to game number 3, the Red River Shootout. Oklahoma, Texas minus 1.5, a slight favorite. What has Texas and Arch Manning done to prove that they could be a favorite against an Oklahoma defense and an Oklahoma team who seems to be, they know their identity? And whether or not John Mateer is playing in this football game or not playing in this football game, it is still up in the air. Either way, there has been a lot of question marks, a lot of red flags, a lot of different things going on with this Texas side of the football, especially on offense. Can Arch Manning lead drives, stay consistent, get the time of possession? It seems like right now the only time where he can make a play is with his feet. His ability to, open up the passing game has not seemed to be great. Hopefully, as he continues to evolve in this offense as a quarterback, he could start to get the job done. But look, what better time than on a national stage for Arch Manning in a team where a lot of people are selling their stock? Hell, they were selling their stock on Arch Manning after the Ohio State game. Then they had some struggles in a couple other non-FBS opponent games. And now here we are against Oklahoma. What an opportunity for Arch Manning to showcase that everyone can take a deep breath, not only for himself, but for the Texas Longhorns. The time is now, and I believe this is now or never. But let's take one more step back. I know they struggled in the game against UTEP, yada, yada, yada. We have the flexing against Sam Houston. But let's not forget, the games that Arch Manning people are basing his season off of right now is a road game to open the year in Ohio State. Probably the most difficult atmosphere in all of college football right now. And I would say the number one defense in all of college football right now. Okay, then what else? Then you throw Arch Manning a few games later, their fifth game of the season. You throw Arch Manning in Gainesville, another hostile top defense in the country. Those are the two games we are forming our opinions of a young quarterback stepping under center with filling massive shoes, massive implications for this expectations for this Texas Longhorns team. I feel like, yes, this Oklahoma defense is going to try to pressure Arch Manning. However, this is no playing in Ohio State in the shoe. This is no playing in the swamp in Gainesville. I think Vegas knows something. Vegas making this Texas Longhorns team a favorite in a game where we have seen nothing out of Texas. I think this is the Arch Manning game where he kind of comes out of the closet a little bit. Is he going to put up phenomenal numbers? No, but I think we are betting on progression rather than regression here. And for that reason, there's no reason for Texas to be favored in this football game. And for that reason, we're taking Texas on the money line. And that's usually not, I'm not wholeheartedly saying that's our sole purpose in taking this Texas team in this game. I think with no John Mateer or with John Mateer, this is a very frustrated Longhorns team. This is an opportunity like none other Longhorns team. This is an unranked Longhorns team going against the number 6 team in the country, Oklahoma. I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to get the train on track, land an airplane for once, and Arch Manning to make some plays, not only with his feet, but in the air. Red River Shootout, give us Texas money line. I feel like everyone has sold their stock in Texas. Everyone has sold their stock with Arch Manning. We took Ohio State week 1 against Texas. We took Florida plus the 7.5 last week against Texas. And now here we are taking Texas for the first time this season here on this show. Why not us? And before our next matchup, let's take a quick break for our drink of the fall.
Now we want to tell you about Mug Root Beer. I mean, there's something just so good and nostalgic about this stuff.
It's our drink of the fall. Every game that we're watching, we're grabbing a mug. 0 calories, 0 sugar.
0 caffeine.
0 caffeine.
Unbelievable.
Very special.
Sit down on the couch, watch some ball, have a mug. You're having yourself a day.
All right, we dive back in. We travel from the SEC to the Big Ten, where we're taking a trip out to Eugene, Oregon. We're staring down the barrel of a 7.5 point spread and a total of 55.5 points. Well, it's all sunshine and rainbows right now for Dan Lanning and company, coming off their biggest win of the season, probably one of the hardest wins of any team, any season, getting the job done in a whiteout game in Penn State. However, they then hit the bye, and during their bye week, Penn State travels out to LA to play UCLA, and they lose to an 0-4 UCLA team. Clearly, there are something going on with the Penn State offense. The fact that now that takes away, I'm not necessarily saying it takes away from that win, but I would be lying to you if I said I don't think it does a little bit. James Franklin and the boys, there's clearly something wrong with the Drew Aller, Singleton Allen backfield chemistry of knowing how to get this ball rolling. Look, but now they get to come back home where they've won their last 42 of 43 home games in Eugene. Something like that. I think they're 41-1, 42-1, something crazy. Indiana, on the other hand, Fernando Mendoza is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. The main question of the hour is, will this Indiana offense be able to run the football on Oregon Duck defense who was able to shut down Allen and Singleton in Penn State? Obviously, they had run struggles in the past, such as against Northwestern on the road, where they were able to tally up around 200 yards from scrimmage with their feet. I think in this game, this is a tricky line. If you were to ask me if I had to take a spread on this game, I think Indiana, who I have never been a fan on jumping on their bandwagon because they have struggled playing on the road. Obviously, we saw them put belt to ass against Illinois in the comfort of their own home, but now this is their first true test. We saw them in the college football playoff struggle in big matchups, marquee matchups, especially on the road outside of the comfort of their own home. I think I would roll. My thought process is, who isn't taking Oregon after winning on the road in a national broadcast game, everyone watching Oregon get the job done against Penn State in Penn State? Why else? A little recency bias. Wouldn't you be taking Oregon minus the 7.5? Oregon in a moneyline parlay? I think Oregon and Dante Moore, if you were to tell me right now, who do I have to take to win the national championship, I would probably say Oregon. But for a spread in this game, I think I would rock and roll with Indiana plus the 7.5. However, what I like most in this game is sitting back and expecting fireworks on both sides of the football and taking the over 55.5 in the ball game. Because I know Oregon could make this ball game 14-0, 21-0 very quickly if Indiana isn't showing up and ready to play on the road. However, I also know that adjustments can continue to be made. I know both quarterbacks stepping under center can get the job done on any given possession, and I think a 55.5 total, if either one of these teams, whether if it's a barn burner or Oregon running away with it, there is going to be points. So game pick number 4, I like over 55.5 in this ball game in Eugene between Indiana and Oregon. Let's continue on down the line. We're doing this in the first inning of the Phillies versus Dodgers. So I was checking in on the game. Phillies had runners on the corner and the Dodgers got out of it. Very, very, very tough. However, let's continue on down the line where we have another big marquee Big Ten matchup out in USC. Bryce Underwood taking a trip out to Trojan land. And I want to start this matchup by saying this nice little stat. So we rolled with Illinois plus the 6.5 for USC's road game. USC had been outside of California favorited, I believe 0-9 against the spread. We gave the statistic last week on the show. However, here we go with another time zone trend, I guess you can say. Let me just double check with this one. This is usually when Loops would talk. Michigan is 1-10 since 2000 in Pacific or Mountain West time zones. So when they have traveled west to the Colorados or the Arizonas or the Californias, they are 1-10 straight up in Pacific or Mountain time zones since 2000. Something to keep account for, because last week when we faded when we faded USC and rolled with Illinois, and Illinois gets the job done on a game-winning field goal. We said USC under Lincoln Riley as a favorite outside of the state of California was 0-9 against the spread, and they lose that game outright. I think that this USC team is still very similar, different conference, but I would compare them to an Auburn in the SEC. They're a very well-rounded team on both the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football. This is a very well identified an identity. They know their identity through Lincoln Riley. He's been able to run the football this season. And I think this is another fantastic spot. You bring Bryce Underwood outside of his comfort zone, where we've seen thus far big road games have not suited Bryce Underwood great. He killed us in the Oklahoma game, but here we are. I am going to roll with USC -2.5 in a bounce back, get right spot, welcoming in Michigan. I just think on both sides of the football, I trust USC more in the matchups going against this Michigan team, especially in a bounce back spot after a tough loss to Illinois, where it was truly a brutal spot, a tough spot for USC. So game pick, USC -2.5. Let's get to our final game pick. End of the first. Nerfy just hit Phillies, Dodgers. We'll get this wrapped up in perfect time for the top of the second. Fellas, our final game pick. Before we get there, we appreciate each and every single one of you. We'll see you our next episode for our best bets for NFL Week 6. The fall is flying by. We cannot take a weekend for granted. We cannot take a game for granted. We cannot take a snap for granted. No games left behind. No parlays left behind. Let's go back to the SEC, why don't we? Where we have the Florida Gators traveling to College Station. Look, 7.5 point spread. What's the worst that could happen? The Florida Gators just had their biggest win with Billy Napier and DJ Lagway of the season at home against Texas. Now they have to travel on the road. In my opinion, my very unexpert, silly, dumb opinion, I believe right now the team to beat in the SEC is Texas A&M. They have the weapons, positional player weapons. I love KC Concepcion. I love Marcel Reed under center, and I love the way they're coached. This team, obviously, we saw Mike Elko come from Duke, now at Texas A&M. He is a very great defensive-minded coach, but also the way this team has been navigating on the offensive side of the football, especially at home, I feel like all of a sudden this is a sign from Vegas opening it up. Who wants to bet on a plus touchdown and a half Florida Gators team after beating Texas last week? Be our guest. You know what we're going to do to that? We're going to shut it. We're not going to bite the cheese. If it looks like a rat, smells like a rat, it probably is a rat. I love Texas A&M -7.5 here to get the job done. Continue to roll. We've seen DJ Lagway on the road. Very sketchy. Hell, if he throws half the amount of interceptions he did in Baton Rouge here in College Station, we should have ourselves an easy cover. The way that, obviously, this Florida defense is no joke. It's no fucking around. It's no funny business. But maybe you bring them out on the road once again against this well-rounded offense like Texas A&M. Mike Elko, once again, he knows how to get the boys up. They did it on the road in South Bend, getting the job done against Notre Dame. And then they've had massive games at home thus far where they just time and time again, the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball has just looked like top in the SEC. And getting a win over Auburn, slapping and covering against Mississippi State. Now they stay at home for their third straight home game, which is massive, against a Florida team coming off their biggest win, emotional win. I think this is a great spot. Once again, I feel like all these home spots right now that we're talking about are great spots. Game pick, the final game pick, give us Texas A&M -7.5. And I really love all these spots. Missouri at home, Auburn at home, Texas in the Red River Shootout. USC at home, Texas A&M at home. What a weekend to be at home. Week 7 of the college football season is a very special one. We're not going to take one for granted. What an opportunity. We have massive matchups next week. Drop a like as you guys continue to do it for us. We continue to do it for ourselves and for you guys as we just continue to climb new heights of this show. We appreciate each and every single one of you on the other side of this screen. Is there anything else I need to mention? Merch, our mug sponsor. Hopefully Loop will be back soon. The hang gliding accident was brutal. As always, fellas, we appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll see you on the other side.